So why Santa Muerte wanted me to pull her is because she knew that you were going to be here. Okay, so Victor reached out to me, and let's just put Santa Muerte. She's right here, right over here. Reached out to me because, god damn, we're gonna say her name. We're gonna say Maribel's name. Fucking speaking the truth right out into the air, Maribel Rodriguez. So Victor reached out to me because he believed he had been cursed by a bruja, and I am not a bruja. I am not Mexican by any means. And forgive me, the only thing I know about Mexican culture is the food, and I love Mexican food. So God bless Mexican food. But Victor reaches out to me because he's under the impression that I can help him. And Victor, you know, and I said this to you, I thought you were fucking crazy. The stuff that you were saying to me, I was like, what is going on? This is nuts. In my life, the stuff that I deal with is pretty outlandish and pretty out there. But what Victor was telling me was just like, oh my God, this is a movie. This is a movie. Yes, Marouche, and I'm going to tell it again. It's like a movie. And so he tells me I'm cursed and like I'm blind. I have this injury, all this stuff. And I was like, I have a way of attracting people to me who are crazy sometimes, right? So I was like, fuck, it's one of those things. But then Victor sent me money. As soon as you sent me that money, Victor, I was like, aha, he means business because it's a lot of money. Money talks. What can I say, right? So Victor sends me my rate, sends me my hourly rate for this healing, and I'm like, boom, let's do it. Let's do it because if you have this kind of money, you might still be crazy, but I'll fuck with you. Okay? If you're gonna pay me to deal with your crazy, I can deal with this. So Victor sends me money, and I get on this call, and Victor, your eyes were like black. It was like a black in your eyes, and I looked, and it was like, but this is not Victor. There's this black veil or something like that that's been placed over his eyes. It looks like that. That's what it looked like to me. And then Victor had this injury. You'd broken your bone around the ankle area 9 years ago, and I'm laughing because 9 years is a long time, and still hadn't healed yet. You were still in excruciating pain. And I'm looking at you being like, oh my God, like I can see it. I can see the curse. I can see this man is not well. He's not happy. Victor, you're not an old guy. You're younger than I am, but you look damn old. You look like you were in your 60s. Like you look like you're like, oh, like so much pain, you know, like the whole world on your shoulders. And little by little, by the end of our session, we did an hour session. By the end of our session, the veil had been lifted from your eyes. You were like, I can see better. The pain was gone from your leg. And it was like you were brand new. Not only that, but we had spoken about the fact that this evil bruja, okay, let's backtrack a little bit, okay? This is important because evil bruja, our friend Maribel Rodriguez, had acquired her mother's client list. Her mother, Celadonia, beautiful lady, you can feel her here right now. Celadonia, grandmother energy, you feel it right here, right now. Thank you, Celadonia. Celadonia was a benevolent healer, very good at her job, had earned, it's like a fucking movie, isn't it? Had earned the trust of an entire community of Mexican people. They loved this woman. Loved this woman because she offered protection. She was very good at her job. But when Celadonia passed away, like a weird, how did this even happen? Like where are the people who enforce the rules? Because something weird happened here. When Celadonia passed, her client list got passed down to her daughter, Maribel, And this is where I'm confused because what? And I said, well, did Maribel study with Celadonia? Of course, right? Like you would expect. Did she earn the right to take on this entire list of clients, people who've relied on Celadonia, this old bruja, you know? Did she earn the right? Has she done the studying? Has she been tested to ensure that she can indeed handle the responsibility of this entire file of facts or whatever Rolodex of clients? That's the first thing I asked, because I was like, this doesn't sound right at all. Like that, if I were to pass, I wouldn't be giving my client list to anybody. No, that client list would die with me. It would, because nobody can do my work. I'm sorry. Nobody can do the work that I do. It'd be laughable for you to suggest that just because somebody is of your blood, that they should automatically, just by absorption, right? And so this is my problem, Victor. And you had said to me, no, she didn't do any of the work to earn this. And I'm like, but so how did that happen? How did that changing of the guards happen? Because that doesn't seem right to me at all. And guys, it's not like this happened yesterday. It's not like poor Celadonia passed away yesterday and Maribel's been like, haha, like, oh, like throwing money in the air like a fucking demon woman. This happened 25 years ago, 24 years ago, a whole generation ago. That this woman Maribel has been using her mother's name and her mother's fame, and you guys have been seeing me put out these readings on my page. What do you think they're about? She's been using her mother's name, her mother's fame, to not only prey on her mother's former clients, but to actively hex them, as Victor can affirm to you. Victor, who is a grown-ass man, married, with children. This woman cursed him. Not only did she curse you, Victor, what you told me is she convinced you to fucking perform magic on yourself. She had you so fucked up in your head that she was convincing you to perform magic on yourself, and you were like, yup, let's fuck me up. Let's put me in a jar. Literally directed you to put yourself in a fucking jar. Like, how fucked up is this? Okay, so Victor comes to me, and he's blind, he's hobbling, he's been disabled for 9 years, cannot work, can't sleep, in excruciating pain. His mother, who is also my client, by the way, his mother also can't sleep. His mother is also going blind. His mother is paralyzed in half of her body. Okay, so 1 month later, about Victor's mom messages me for a healing. I see Victor looking fresh as a newborn baby at this point. The light in his face is back. His skin is glowing. His eyes are clear. He's standing up taller. And because of this, his mother's like, yes, please, I would also like this. I know you, Victor. You're my son Victor. And I know how you were, and I know how you are now. And it's not the same. It's very different. So I would like some of this. I also can't see. For some reason, my eyes have been getting worse and worse for some reason, just like you. I'm crippled, literally paralyzed in half my body. I don't know why. I'm terrified for my life. I don't know why. And I see the change in you, Victor, since you've been... Thank you for the confirmation, Celadonia. Since you've been speaking with me, Crow. And actually, since you've been speaking with me, your mother was able to sleep better at night. All of a sudden, her body was able to relax as soon as you started with me. Before she even started working with me, you had worked with me, Victor. And she said that she found it was like this, a sleeping position that looked very much like how a baby sleeps. She said, I found this position like this, and I can sleep through the night. And so she reached out to me, and hey, Mara. And so then your mother hops on the phone with me. And I thought Victor looked oppressed when I saw him, when I met him for this session. But Ludovina, I thought like she was actively grieving the weight of the world on her shoulder. Her face just looks just like so tired, so tired, so hopeless, just like has given up. And once again, at the end of the session, Ludovita can see. Her eyes are clear. The pain is moved away from the side that was paralyzed and everything. She's a brand new lady. And so next, Victor, tell the audience who's next on the list. It's fucking Papa Bear. Right, Papa Bear, who, and we're not, I'm not going to say anything about what happened with Dad because that's between you and me, right? But Dad needs his healing. But what I think is happening, thank you, Santa Muerte. Let's pull some cards, okay? Santa Muerte is asking to deliver your message. Victor, this is a message, I believe, for your father. Okay, so let's you that Santa Muerte has been present, that she was present even before the live started, and this is the reason why I began the live, is because she was here and she said that somebody needed. So here we are. It took a little while. It took like half an hour. Okay, so Victor, I know that your father's fear is being manifested by this Maribel. I know that she has his brain on scramble, right? But when Santa Muerte comes in, and while I don't know Santa Muerte personally, but I feel like she's like very much like a Mother Mary. And I would love to invite Santa Muerte in, and also Archangel Michael, of course. And I would love for them to swoop in and just scoop your dad up. It's almost like your dad is stuck in the middle of some quicksand. And do you remember in the 80s, for those of you guys who are like older in years like me, do you remember in the 80s how like every single show always had some sort of like quicksand trap in the show? And it was to the point where I believe that was like a thing that would happen, is like you would run into random quicksand and you had to be prepared just in case you started to sink in quicksand. Okay? So, thank you, ain't that the truth, says Archangel Michael. Right? But what we're running into, Victor, and Victor's father, can you tell me your dad's name, please, Victor? Just so I can say his name and call on his higher self? Pedro, of course it is. Of course your Mexican father's name is Pedro. That's amazing. Pedro. It's like Pedro is stuck in figurative quicksand. Vote for Pedro. Right? Wasn't that the thing? But listen, so Pedro, wandering aimlessly, Pedro as a young boy. We're picturing Dad as a young boy, young Pedro, wandering like he's in the Never-Ending Story. Okay, and he's wandering with Artax. Oh shit, that's what it is. That's what it is. Pedro was wandering around in the bogs of sadness. Is that what it's called? With his horse Artax. And then, because everybody told him, be careful, don't be consumed by the sadness, because the sadness will overtake you and then you're going to drown in these bogs and Artax, this goddamn horse with no self-discipline. Fucking gets consumed by the sadness. And young Pedro is like, no, Artax! Don't let the sadness consume you. And the horse just cannot, like a sad Eeyore, just consumed by the heaviness and the weight of the world. And the horse dying killed me too. That's why I'm bringing it up right now, is Pedro, Victor, your father Pedro. Did you watch that movie, by the way, Victor, A Never-Ending Story? Because your father It's like he lost his horse, his best friend. But in this case, his best friend is his inner child. He went for a walk in the woods with his inner child, and he came back without his inner child. What a sad thing. Mm-hmm. And so if that's the case, right, Victor? If your dad lost his horse, Artax, in the bogs of sadness, and it's become like a meme, like everybody, like this sadness is so big and so like life-shaking that everybody in the world knows this story of this kid who lost his horse. Like everybody knows this story. And so here's your dad, the kid who lost his horse, and everybody knows the story about how he lost his horse, and everybody talks about it, and then people are like, don't tell me about it, don't remind me, that ruined my childhood. Like everybody's like, don't, right? And so your dad carries all of this shame because he's the one who lost his horse. And he can't talk about it because everybody has heard about it and they just don't want to hear the sad story. But you know what I mean? Can you hear what I'm saying, Victor? Right? And so I know that you know that he needs to do his session with me. But in saying this story out loud, and having it witnessed by the 45 people who are here, right? And having young Pedro have his story heard, and the fact that we understand now that it's because he went out into the woods one day and lost his inner child, and he misses him. That is even more reason to be gentle on this journey. I can be quite spirited, because I know when you come to me that everything will be okay. And everybody knows that. Everybody knows when they come to me, there's an immense amount of pressure on me, guys. Did you realize that? Everybody comes to me being like, fix my cancer, help me to die with no pain and dignity. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, okay. I can do that. I can absolutely do that. But there's a lot of pressure on me. Right, so when I call on Santa Muerte, it's because I'm only a human vessel. And my ability to petition Santa Muerte to reach out to your father, because she's been sitting here this whole time, which I believe is maybe what called you here, what maybe called you to come online, was the fact that Santa Muerte was calling. The fact that in you stepping into your healing, Victor, you're a fully grown adult man with children and a wife. You're not a child. You're not like some young sprung thing with no brains in your head. You are an adult man, and you made the choice to come on this healing journey. And very quickly, thank you, Magician card. Very quickly, your whole universe around you began to echo with the ripples of that healing. Oh, beautiful cards. Thank you so much. And I've talked to you guys constantly about how when we drop a pebble of healing into the pond, that those ripples of healing resonate out. And your dad, I believe he might be a little bit scared. He might be a little bit apprehensive of the tower moment that's about to come, right? Because look at your damn face, Victor. Look at your mother, no longer paralyzed. Look at you, able to walk like a free man. Your dad is looking at the transformation in his wife, who he knows the best, and in his son, who he also knows very, very well. And he's watched you guys completely transformed thanks to working with me, this weird Asian tattooed lady who is not of your faith, who is not of your culture, but somehow it works. Right? Your dad is looking at the impending tower moment being like, oh my God. I've never been bungee cord jumping because I'm not crazy. But I know that a lot of people really love like that kind of like risk-taking shit, right? And so your dad, going to go bungee jumping, and he's standing at the top where the bungee stuff happens, and he's looking down, and he's like, what have I done? What have I done? I can't back out now. Victor's watching. My son Victor, my other sons, they're also watching. My wife is watching. They're all gonna laugh at me. They're all gonna laugh at me if I back down. Shut the fuck up. Okay, can I just pin this? Your grandmother is off her meds and walking. And good night. Need I say more? For anybody who's asking what my prices are, does it matter? Does it matter? Because just pay whatever the fuck it is. Just pay whatever the fuck it is because Victor's grandmother is up and walking and off her meds. Victor's mother is no longer paralyzed and going blind. Victor is no longer going blind and is able to walk because they worked with me. I'm just saying. There seems to be a common thread here, and it seems to be me. It seems to be me. Victor, I'm just, thank you for reminding me of this card, the Star. Once again, Victor, when you decided, and you know what, also, I really thank you for sticking with it, because Victor, I was a little bit worried because of the intensity of you, like the passion with which you speak was a little bit like I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? This guy, right? And so I was a little bit standoffish at first because you were so very passionate about how much you wanted help. You weren't taking no for an answer. I was trying to say no, Victor, because you were worrying me because of how passionate you were. And my bad for not recognizing that sometimes when somebody is screaming for help, it's literally because they're screaming for help and not because you were trying to be like, because some people try to do a thing with me where they try to prey on my weaknesses. They try to prey on my need to be generous and stuff like that. And so at first I thought that's what that was. I thought that you were maybe like an energy vampire trying to say some really crazy things to me, trying to literally check off every single box of all of the things that could go wrong in your life. I thought that that's what was happening because I was like, nobody has this much shit going on. Like, I've met me. I met me, and I'm the only one that I know with this amount of shit, so there's no way, right? And my bad. But you stuck with it, and you were like, no, this is actually really fucking happening. And I asked my guys, and I'm like, why would you do this? Why would you send me this guy? Archangel Michael, he's like, no, he's not at all joking. We would definitely tell you if this was a crazy guy. And so, Victor, in sticking with it, in knowing that there was this truth that you had inside of you, and this is the thing, when you ask for help and you're not being helped, it's because you're asking the wrong people. This is not at all victim blaming. I'm just pointing out something to you guys. That when you've asked for help and you haven't been helped, it's not because you're not worthy of being helped, right, Victor? It's because you've asked the wrong people. And so poor Victor, who at this point, I believe at this point, you're blue in the face and you're just like, help me! And you're screaming and there's no voice coming out, even because you've been screaming for help for literally 24 years, which is when this curse started 24 years ago. You're now like, what, 30 something, right? But you've been screaming for help for so long that nobody believes you, because it's like they're like the boy who cried wolf. They're like, just why are you screaming so much? Like, we're all tired, Victor. You've been screaming for so long and it's very loud. It's grating on our ears. What, you're annoying. Victor, stop talking. Right? And so you're 37? Bless. So you've been screaming for the last decades that something is wrong, and people, for some reason, and I'm so sorry that this has been the case, they were convinced that you were crazy. They were convinced that the words coming out of your mouth were, I don't know why they would think this, that you were like trying to be dramatic. It's weird. Why is that the case? Why did they think that you were lying? Okay, but I'm just saying. Okay, so it took you a while until you found me, and then I also was like, I don't know. This guy, very, very spirited, very passionate. He's like, he's in a panic, and that's what it was. It's like because you were in a panic, the way that I perceived your panic was like a crazy person, like you're like this, like out of control. But that's what being afraid does to you. But I should know. I've been afraid for a very long time because I suffer from PTSD. And so when I saw Victor in a panic, like waving his arms around, I didn't understand what I was looking at or what I was perceiving. And I'm being very honest because just so you guys can see that I'm also on this journey, that I'm also still learning about how to read cues and stuff. But Victor's like waving his arms around, being like, help! And I'm like, crazy man. He's very loud. Speaking words I don't understand. First of all, because I'm not Mexican either. I'm not Mexican. I don't feel comfortable about this. What am I doing? Like, what if this man is evil magician for real? This is literally what went through my head because of my trauma. What if this man is an evil bruja and he's trying to trick me so that he can fucking bind me? I don't know. So thank goodness. Yeah, no, you were drowning. Literally, you were drowning. And you're like, help! And then you just go out and you're help. And I'm like, what is that? But that sounds so odd. But thank goodness, Victor, that you stuck with it. And now your mom has seen healing. Your grandmother, Victor, can I ask you which grandmother it is? Is it your mom's mom? Do you know how much work I've been fucking doing? Thank you for the confirmation. I've been working so fucking hard behind the scenes without your knowledge to help your grandmother, to show you guys, to prove to you guys. It's a lot. Do you remember me saying at one point, I have this thing where I dream the impossible. I love to set lofty goals for myself and dream the impossible and then make it happen. Thank you, Vega. The next order of business, Victor, is that I want to come to California. I told you that the work that I can do for your family and your community is going to be next. You know, thank goodness for the e.l.f. 16-hour makeup fix spray that I have on. Look, my makeup looks amazing still. I have barely any makeup on, but like, it looks good. The e.l.f. spray. So, D, right? Am I right? Like, sometimes I just look at my life and I'm just like, God damn. Like, I have stories. I have many stories, and like, I think I should put out a book. I think I should put out a book of all the stories. A book of all the stories of all the people that I've helped, all of, because I think it's cool. I think it's really cool to be able to, like, just walking along, just doing my thing. Like, I just started doing this healing thing because I just was very sad and I didn't want to suffer anymore. And I guess I became very good at healing and not suffering. And then people around me were like, hey, can you help me to heal and to not suffer? And I was like, oh, sure. I guess that means that I've learned how to do it well, because like I said, that's how you get tested. That's how you know that you passed the test, is that you're able to show the things that you've learned. And when I can teach somebody, like Victor, like his mom, like his grandma, when I can teach your bodies how to heal themselves and stuff like that, what a gift it is. When I teach you guys how to do that, it says to me that I've learned how to do it. I've learned how to do it so well that I can teach somebody else how to do it. When you can be a teacher, right, is when you know that you know your stuff. A lot of people, and no offense, but a lot of people who are still students and don't know how to teach yet want to be teachers, and that's where things get a little bit fucked up. Is a lot of people want the title of being a teacher, being a high priestess or whatever like this, without having gone through the rigorous testing. You know, like I wasn't even going to try to take that test, Victor. I was trying not to take that test at all. I was like, I'm not Mexican. I'm all filled up here, sir. I've and so